What is going on, everybody? Hello and welcome to the that's right, fifth Black MS Experience Summit. And my name is Tyler Campbell. When I see that melody in there, I just get excited. And I'm excited to be joined by the amazing, the illustrious, the one of a kind. Bring yourself in.
Hi, I'm Michelle Witherspoon, and we are thrilled to be back hosting this event for the Black MS community. And Tyler, what are we doing? Celebrating 5 years. Well, I'm doing 10. 5 years of this virtual summit.
And you got to speak it into existence. 10 and
That's
coming,
right.
all right? So we got something special planned for everyone, even for that tomorrow, all right? So it's 2 days, keep it in for tomorrow. A new closing celebration. Y'all, you don't want to miss it. It's just not about today.
No, don't miss it. No spoilers. No spoilers right now, but it's going to be great. And so is today. So let's get started, Tyler. Everyone, take a moment to put your name, where you're from, what you're excited about. Put all this in the chat window. You'll see at the top chat. Let's get this community going and growing. Let's go, Tyler.
Hey, absolutely. It's so great to see so many of you guys in the chat, man. This is awesome. People sharing where they're from. Keep it coming in. We're family, Michelle.
That's right. We hope that you've noticed that this year we're using Zoom. Remember last year, Tyler and I kept saying, look at the bottom of your screen, right? But this year we wanted to make this experience even better. If you need any technical help, use the platform, type your questions in the lobby chat. There's staff there that'll help you out. Ask any questions you have. You'll also be able to view all the sessions for the summit from the sessions tab, but this time it's in the top right part of your screen.
Absolutely. And we've got some great sessions. Y'all don't want to miss it. The theme this year is unstoppable, right? Rising from disruption. And I love this so much because it's not just about MS disrupting our lives, but it's about how we show our own resiliency as people with MS. And we prove we don't just adapt, we rise. All right. And so for me personally, my MS, it was the thing that came into my life that said, I'm not just going to blend in with everybody, I'm going to stand out. And purpose became gifted and lifted in my pain. So the more I spoke up, Michelle, the more I noticed it gave room for Black men to release and give their hearts. My MS is bigger than just me. It's about us as a people and the MS community as a whole.
That's right. That's right. We disrupt MS right back. Look what I
Come
have on my
on.
shirt. I am
Come on.
unstoppable, right? Right. So we've got a powerful day of examples of that. It is great that the MS Society continues to give us space, y'all, to make our stories heard. Let me just say that sentence one more time. The MS Society continues to give us space to make sure our stories are heard. And that's why we're here today.
Hey, I'm gonna piggyback, and they also gave us a place. Here we are at the Black MS Summit. So we thank you, and we thank you for our convening contributors. It's not possible without the support of others, Genentech, Novartis, and our contributors Amgen and Sandoz and Sanofi. Hey, look at me,
You
Michelle, I
did
got them
it.
this year.
I ain't
Listen,
doing the
and
sponsor
Sanofi.
announcement.
Listen, thank y'all for making this summit possible, and thank you for letting me take the pressure off Michelle this year, y'all.
That's right. I never can pronounce the names correctly, as you all may remember from the summit. Tyler does his part. So let's get into our first story, Tyler. I think for a lot of us, that moment when you're first diagnosed can make you feel like this ultimate disruption. For me personally, I was so scared, not knowing what type of life was ahead for me and my family. Right. And so I was overwhelmed, as many of you have experienced. There's so many immediate decisions that you have to make. I always call this my MS wellness journey, not this disruptiveness of being something that I don't want to deal with, right? But when MS disrupts your path, there's always a way to find joy daily. So here to share with us his story is Marcus Wallace. Let's roll video.
Hello, I am Marcus Wallace. November of 2023, I was diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis. Prior to that, I caught the flu and it exposed a much bigger issue that I was dealing with. About a week after that, I was hospitalized and I was told that my brain was too big for my skull. Chiari malformation was the diagnosis. Over those next 8 months, I went through everything from needing a cane and a walker to get around to losing everything that I worked hard for, including my home. July 3rd, 2023, I had brain surgery. That next month was spent in a rehab facility. The first week, I laid there with 24 staples in the back of my head. Over those next 3 weeks, I went from learning how to properly walk again to being granted my Independence Day. Every morning at 6 a.m., I would get up, go get a cup of coffee. I would go down and get a pail of water, and I would go out to the garden and I would water the fruits and the vegetables and just watch the sunrise. This was a very powerful moment in my life where I would say to myself, I forgive the past me, I accept the current me, I'm excited for the future me. Until the next doctor's appointment a couple of months later, I was told that I had a very aggressive case of multiple sclerosis. And just like that, it ripped all that joy and happiness right out of me that fast. I was put in a place of thinking I'm sitting here watching everyone living to die while I was dying to live. I had a really odd 3 day stretch. The first day, I had a meeting with the suicide prevention group at the Rediscover Mental Health Facility. A couple hours after that, I was with my therapist, and she asked, could she send in a referral to the National MS Society? Sure. The next day was the appointment with my neurologist, and he showed me the comparison of the MRIs that were taken right after the surgery to the one that was taken a couple months later. The one right after the surgery showed that I had 2 lesions on my brain and a really big dark spot on this back right side that they thought was a brain tumor that whole time until the next MRIs were taken. And then they found out that I now had 8 lesions, 8 different areas of my brain developing inflammation. And that big dark spot on the back was actually damage from the MS. Now, the next day, I got connected with the National MS Society, and this was a match made in heaven. Like the navigator they put me with, she was wonderful from the transition of breaking down all the resources they had to help the people in this community of MS on to me having my really bad flare ups from it. And I was hospitalized, and I would just randomly look at my phone, and there would be an email of her saying, "Hey, friend, how are you doing?" And this truly made me believe in the National MS Society. I'm now registered for multiple walk MS events. I'm registered to be a volunteer at the Awareness Center, and I'm registering to become a official advocate of the National MS Society. Now, through this really strong relationship that I've built between the family, the friends, the National MS Society, and God, it was like I found myself in a place of thinking I'm no longer a man who sits back and count the hours. I'm now a man that stands up and make the hours count. I'm not sure what my purpose in this world is, but I know the one thing I have is a story. I have a testimony that could help people. In the National MS Society helped me regain all that joy and happiness and gave me the perfect platform to share this with as many people as I possibly can. I thank you.
I gotta tell you, Michelle, like, come on, as a black man, like, man, I want to shout to the mountaintops, man, because it's just something that I always loved. I'm so happy to see another black man sharing his story in full transparency, and it's not just about black men, y'all, who are willing to be visible. It's about black men who are willing to be vulnerable, and that's why space and place are so incredibly important. So, Marcus, we thank you, because this is the movement for black men. All right, our ability to commune together, to understand that we are like-minded, to understand that you are not alone as a brother. And the more that we can get to the forefront, because ladies, y'all congregate and y'all do an amazing job doing it. And when we as men can catch up, please understand that we can build community for ourselves. So let's show up and let's talk more about the stories. Please email your stories here to the National MS Society with the email password or email address
Address.
stories at nmss.org. If you're willing to share your story, there are many opportunities, y'all, within this summit and outside of it for letting us know your story, where you are, and being willing to step up because others will come to the fold the more men we have, Michelle. That's just my
That's
belief.
right. Yeah, please, reiterating what Tyler said, please email your stories that you might be on the next MS Black Experience event. It's stories at nmss.org. Somebody, I'm sure, will put it in the chat. I
Put
love
it in
this,
the chat.
Tyler.
Help your
Yeah,
boy
put
out.
it in the chat. Put it in the chat. It's so important that we see as many faces as possible and hear as many stories. There's power in this community. So we just don't want to talk about the men living with MS. We love y'all. As you know how much I love you, Tyler, right? But there are many faces across this movement. Let's don't forget about our care partners, my husband, my daughter, my sister, my family. All of us have those. But here to share their family story is Rachel Chapman, her husband, Kevin, and their daughter, Jessica. This is powerful, y'all. Roll video.
My MS diagnosis came on October 29th, 2004, 10 months after my second exacerbation. I was alone with a neurologist as he told me this life-altering news. I wasn't sure what he meant, but I knew it wasn't good. Hysterically, I called my husband, Kevin. I was scared, confused, and worried about our future. Kevin and I immediately started doing research, educating ourselves and making some decisions together. It was a few days before we told our young teenage daughter, Jessica. She could feel our anxiety and revealed she thought I was going to die. Seeing Jessica worrying made me extremely sad. After this diagnosis came a diagnosis of depression. We tried family therapy, but more importantly, we talked about MS and us as a family. We have persevered through purpose of disease progression and are stronger for it. I am so grateful for my family's support.
When I first knew Rachel had MS, as she mentioned, I was also very scared, worried, and immediately started reading and researching everything I could find. I felt that this was a disease that we shared together, and we were going to deal with it together. 20 years later, I still believe that my role in this life is to help her in any way I can to keep her safe in the home and outside the home so we can live our best lives together.
When I first found out, I was young and I felt terrified. I didn't know what having MS meant. I didn't know what having MS meant for my mom and for our family, but we went to counseling. And what I think that showed me and solidified was our sense of doing this together, doing this collectively. We were going to get through this, understand MS as a family, and honor our mental health, care for our mental health, and care for one another as we were doing that along the way. And now I'm a seminary professor, and I teach and I work at the intersection of Black women's health and spirituality. And my relationship with my mom and dad is fantastic. And we continue to do things collectively and support one another as a family.
So this life-changing journey has increased our faith and brought us closer together as a family. In our own ways, we each have learned to make this test our testimony.
Wow, Tyler, this test is our testimony. I love that. Being scared is normal, but I love hearing how Rachel and her family navigated through this together. That's powerful.
And then you see the key of why support is so important, why this summit matters to garner that. Not everyone has family to support. So having a space, right, to come together to meet others like yourselves, like ourselves, and sharing that experience, that's what builds the community that we need. And it helps us to remember, hey, Michelle, we're not alone,
We
right?
are not alone. I got a cool story for you, Tyler. Did
Come on
you
with it,
know?
sister.
Okay, ready? Lean in, everybody, lean in, all right? Did you know the society runs a Facebook community called the Black MS Experience Community? And it's open to everyone. The idea in creating this was to have an ongoing Black MS experience connection that you get outside of this meeting, right? In November, it became a reality when an attendee from this summit, that's why we always say lean in, advocated and started this group. There's over 300 members already there. We know there's strength in numbers. We know that we can make this grow, right? So as one of the community moderators, Amber Cunningham, she's going to be here to share her experience. Let's hear Amber.
Hi, I am Amber Cunningham, and I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis at the age of 30 after waking up on my daughter's 7th birthday and not being able to see out of my right eye. I kind of ignored the symptoms for a little bit. Being a single mother, you just keep going, and there was things that needed to be done. But after my family letting me know, Amber, to go get this checked out, I went ahead and went to the eye doctor, then the neurologist, and then was diagnosed. I did not know much about multiple sclerosis, nor did I, from the information I had, did I think that it was something that a 30-year-old Black woman would get. After being diagnosed, I began doing research and trying to find a space for myself to be able to share my story and find people who are going through the same thing as me. With the encouragement of my family, I began sharing my story on Instagram and other platforms, and I was able to find a lot of people who are going through the same thing, connect with them, as well as find the MS Society. And with digging through the information that the society provides, I found the Black MS Experience Facebook group and then quickly joined. With that group, it is amazing. People share words of encouragement. The group provides community, resources, a space for people who look like you, who are going through the same thing. It's a judge-free zone and really emphasizes the fact that we are not alone in this. There are many others who are going through the same thing, experiencing the same thing, and fight the same fight. I have an amazing support team of family, friends, and coworkers who all love on me and are quite supportive. But at the end of the day, they don't have MS. They can help me, but only so much. So again, with the Black MS Experience, I'm able to really get to really share how I'm feeling and what's going on with others who can fully understand. And I think that is the best part. We have that community and we are not alone.
There's unity and community, y'all. Thank you so much, Amber. And what a great resource and safe space for us to share our experiences as a good preview for tomorrow's breakout session, y'all. Listen in, lean in, empowering your MS circle of support, right? Having this Facebook community is definitely a chance to keep these summit connections year round, not just now, to build your own personal circle of support. It's also important to build your knowledge, your wisdom. I still meet people today who think MS is just a white person's disease. Hello, I know I'm not the only one, because for so long, that's what was out there. Okay, so here to speak to what the society is doing, because we're trying to break down barriers and expand the research within the Black community, is our very own Bruce Bebo.
Now, our mission is to cure MS while making sure every person with this disease has what they need to live their best lives today. And over the last 75 years, the Society has helped to fundamentally reshape life with MS. Today, we have quicker and more accurate diagnosis. We have many effective treatment options, especially for relapsing disease. We have fewer people living with disability, a greater awareness and understanding of this disease, and a passionate and supportive community. And you have all been the engine driving this tremendous progress. And it's this progress that has inspired us to chart an initiative called Pathways to Cures. And the goal of this initiative is to establish a clear vision of the most promising research that will ultimately lead to cures for everyone with MS. This roadmap has been endorsed by over 30 global MS research organizations, and there are 3 distinct but overlapping pathways described in the roadmap. The STOP pathway is focused on achieving a state of no new disease activity. The RESTORE pathway aims to reverse symptoms and recover neurologic function, and the END pathway strives to prevent new cases of MS. Now, we are the largest nonprofit funder of MS research in the world, and it's this roadmap that helps guide our investments and the investments of the other global MS research funders to accelerate progress in research areas that we think have a particularly high opportunity to advance progress towards cures. And one of those opportunities that I want to highlight for you today is how we're contributing to a better understanding of how the experience of Black people living with MS is different from others. And not only will this research lead to improved outcomes for Black people with MS, but it has the potential to provide clues to the fundamental nature of MS for everyone. Despite the widely held belief that MS is a condition that primarily affects white people of European descent, a recent study that was commissioned by the Society reported that the prevalence of MS, and by prevalence I mean the number of cases measured at a specific point in time, the prevalence of MS in the Black population was more or less equivalent to the white population. Now, one consequence of this new information is a heightened sense of urgency to better understand the Black MS experience and determine how we can achieve the best outcomes for this community. The Society is supporting studies in a number of different areas, including genetics, both of risk and severity of the disease, understanding the differences and similarities in immune function, psychosocial aspects of MS, what some of the barriers are to participation in clinical research, and efforts focused on increasing diversity to the workforce, both in the healthcare provider workforce and in the research workforce. And these and other studies are starting to reveal that Black people living with MS can have and often have a different clinical presentation than their white counterparts. We're understanding that Black people living with MS have a greater risk for more severe disability and faster disease progression, more lesions on an MRI, and a higher rate of brain atrophy or shrinkage of the brain. There's some evidence to show that there's a lower response to disease-modifying therapies, and some emerging evidence around some of the biology that may be driving some of these differences. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg. More research is needed to better characterize and understand these differences, and more research is needed to figure out how we can improve outcomes for Black people living with MS. And this is where you come in. So historically, Black people are underrepresented in MS research studies. It's one of the barriers we have facing that we're trying to answer some of these critical research questions. And there are many opportunities to contribute, and some of them are listed on this slide. One I'd like to highlight for you is the National African American MS Registry. Now, I hope you will consider participating in one or more of these opportunities so that we can advance our knowledge of MS in the Black population and get improved outcomes for people, Black people living with MS, and for everyone living with MS. And with your help, we will end MS forever.
Wow, let's get some more representation into the study so we can end MS forever and help educate others as well as ourselves.
I want that in forever. Listen, research is so important. We need the numbers. And y'all know the Society has a group of MS activists who went to Capitol Hill this year and successfully lobbied for, listen, $20 million to dedicate towards research and funding, y'all. Michelle, that's big.
That's amazing. 20 million. Advocacy can be such a powerful way to disrupt your MS right back and make a difference in everyone's lives that's affected by this disease.
Hey, the testimony, y'all know, getting Black voices and Black stories into those rooms, that's what matters, our perspective, okay? So here to share her experience of testifying before Congress is MS activist Jeanette Ashlock. Jeanette, take it away.
My name is Jeanette Ashlock, and I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis October 4th of 2001. And I became an advocate because I wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. This year, I got to testify in front of Congress regarding the ease of using telehealth and the importance of using telehealth. As I was driving to DC to the Capitol, I was in awe that I would be testifying in front of Congress, not just for me, but for my MS community and family. And as I got into the room to testify, it's like, oh, it looks just like it does on TV. And as I'm sitting there waiting for the congressmen and congresswomen, I took a deep breath because I didn't want to be nervous, and I wasn't nervous. And I was able to give my testimony and share to them the importance of telehealth. I told them about the ease of setting up an appointment, the ease of having my notepad there to take notes, and also to receive the comments of the doctor. Accuracy is very important to me because it's an impact that we make to say what we need and what we want. And also with telehealth, you are able to have someone on the screen with you. And I brought that up in the meeting that I was able to bring my son in from Texas, who's way in Texas, and be able to be a part of the telehealth. And also I used a tip from another activist who said, don't forget about the homebound. And when I spoke about the homebound, that brought more talk and it enlightened them to bring more talk about those that are homebound. Accuracy is important for all of us. We must make an impact and we must not be silent.
Oh my gosh, talk about the unstoppable. I love hosting this conference, but can you imagine testifying before Congress? How nervous I would be throwing up. Thanks, Jeanette, for that story and showing up for the Black MS community in the room.
We went to Capitol Hill, y'all. She took us all to Capitol Hill.
She took
And
us all.
thanks to all of you for showing up today, whether it's for your first year, you've been here for all 5 celebrating. We are here together and proving that we are not alone. There's unity in numbers and we have strength to move beyond disruption and always rise, Michelle.
That's right. So let's talk about what's next, Tyler. So next up at 1:30 Eastern, because we know there's hundreds of you on the line. We don't know where you're calling in from. We have our educational session, Understanding Your MS Journey. This is a new edition this year to help you get more in depth on the MS education, specifically in the Black MS community. And we hope to see you there.
Absolutely, y'all. You don't want to miss it. The conference only gets better because our community gets broader. And we'll be back here with you guys tomorrow at 2:25 p.m. 2:25 p.m. Come on.
Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time for that special closing celebration that we talked about. We don't want to give any hints, Michelle.
No spoilers, Tyler. No spoilers.
Hey, I know that's right. But we've got some great things planned. We hope to see y'all there. Until then, signing off. I'm Tyler Campbell with the amazing
Michelle Witherspoon. Enjoy the summit. We'll see you tomorrow.
Love you guys. See y'all later. Let's enjoy the summit.